Travis Wayne Goodsoe. I, among all people, wish that Armageddon would quickly end. It's just keeping me from working on Paleo-Hebrew and Egyptian and translations, and keeping me from my game that's just piled up on the ledge over there in boxes. I want to play my game. Be nice if it could be computerized, but nonetheless. So instead, I keep doing what I'm inspired to do, which is to warn Mormons. And so, Doctrine and Covenants, section 103, verse 13. Behold, this is the blessing which I have promised after your tribulation and the tribulations of your brethren, your redemption, and the redemption of your brethren, even their restoration to the land of Zion, to be established, no more to be thrown down. Nevertheless, if they pollute their inheritances, they shall be thrown down, for I will not spare them if they pollute their inheritances. Behold, I say unto you, the redemption of Zion must needs come by power. Therefore I will raise up unto my people a man who shall lead them like as Moses led the children of Israel. Even so shall the redemption of Zion be, just like Abraham, or the seed of Abraham with the Exodus. So in section 101, there's a parable that Joseph Smith gives. And verse 42, he leads into it with, he that exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that abaseth himself shall be exalted. And now I will show unto you a parable, that you may know my will concerning the redemption of Zion. So here we go. And so from section 103, we see that it will be necessary for a Mormon to rise up from Mormonism to be the man like Moses. So pay attention to this parable now in that context, because they're both talking about the redemption of Zion. And so it says, a certain nobleman had a spot of land, very choice. Who is the nobleman? The Lord, the Christ, the God, whatever you want to call him. Very choice. And he said unto his servants, who are the servants? Church leaders. Go ye unto my vineyard, even upon this very choice piece of land, and plant 12 olive trees. The house of Israel. And set watchmen round about them. So stake presidents, bishops, elders, and build a tower. When I worked as a church service missionary for the curriculum department, working on the 2009 version of the scriptures with footnoting to the topical guide, or not topical guide, but guide to the scriptures that they had in place of the topical guide of Bible dictionary, we all knew and was spread around that the tower is the church office building. Not the church administration building, the church office building. That one may overlook the land round about, to be a watchman upon the tower. It's an awesome view from up there. That mine olive trees may not be broken down when the enemy shall come to spoil and take upon themselves the fruit of my vineyard. And so it's talking about the intended Zion, as leaders of the church are in charge, gathering of the 12 tribes are there, and they're starting all new. And you have a system set up in place to protect everybody, make sure that the enemy doesn't come and destroy, molest, or make afraid, shall we say. Now the servants of the noblemen, so these are the prophets, went and did as their Lord commanded them, and planted the olive trees, and built a hedge round about, and set watchmen, and began to build a tower. And while they were yet laying the foundation thereof, they began to say among themselves, And what need hath my Lord of this tower? And consulted for a long time, saying among themselves, What need hath my Lord of this tower, seeing this is a time of peace? Might not this money be given to the exchangers, so that we can invest and make trillions of dollars? For there is no need of these things. And while they were at variance one with another, they became very slothful, and they hearkened not unto the commandments of their Lord. These are the prophets, guys. Joseph Smith is talking about Mormon prophets. And the enemy came by night, broke down the hedge, and the servants of the noblemen arose, and were affrighted, and fled. And the enemy destroyed their works, and broke down the olive trees. Do you not see this, Mormons? This is Joseph Smith, saying that the prophets will abandon the Mormons. They will not protect them. They will not prepare, even though they were a part of the Boy Scouts at one particular time, until the accusations of rape got too big and they bailed. They fled from the Boy Scouts. They fled from the adoption agency. They fled from the hospital. They keep fleeing from things rather than protecting the vineyard. And so now we're seeing a coronavirus, and the prophets have yet again fled. And I'm wondering if they may actually physically flee, not just abandon Mormons. Had another video I did last night, was going to set it up this morning. I had to set it in a different file to get to it when I get to it, but told you that I would do this video. And so it continues, obviously, because Joseph Smith is not given a tragedy. Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou? And now behold, the nobleman, the Lord of the vineyard, called upon his servants, and said unto them, Why? What is the cause of this great evil? Ought ye not to have done even as I commanded you? And after ye had planted the vineyard, and built the hedge round about, and set watchmen upon the walls thereof, build the tower also, and set a watchman upon the tower, and watched for my vineyard, and not have fallen asleep. So there's New Testament stuff here that's going on too, as the Peter, James, and John fell asleep while the transfiguration was going on, getting the keys of the kingdom from Moses, not Peter, James, and John. Lest the enemy should come upon you. The concept of being prepared. as I was a Boy Scout, was drilled into me. And so for me, I live my life knowing that I need to be prepared, and as much as my financial situation allowed. And so yes, it's frustrating being poor. The stuff you see, you may think, wow, you're richer than I am, Travis. No, not really. 6 years of my life was taken away, and because 6 years of my life was taken away, I was given compensation for those 6 years all at one time. So that's why I have what I have. And behold, the watchman upon the tower would have seen the enemy while he was yet afar off. I did. I saw coronavirus coming. I was thinking it was going to be something else. I didn't realize how literal they were going to fulfill the Bible prophecies from Exodus. But yeah, I saw it coming, and I warned my second ex, and she didn't want to believe it. Now she's got her family members who got it. And total chaos. All because the prophets refused to see, or saw and did nothing to protect the Mormons. And I've gone over that in other videos, especially Thursday evening, which they got on Friday morning. And then ye could have made ready and kept the enemy from breaking down the hedge thereof, and saved my vineyard from the hands of the destroyer. They chose not to do this. They chose to allow Utahns, Mormons, to get the virus and to die, to become sick, to have a pre-existing condition, which is about to be dismantled and gone from your health insurance. And so here's the connection to section 103. Remember, a Mormon, a male Mormon, will be like unto Moses. So verse 55. And the Lord of the vineyard said unto one of his servants, Go and gather together the residue of my servants, and take all the strength of mine house, which are my warriors, my young men, and they that are of middle age, and also all my servants, who are the strength of mine house, save those only whom I have appointed to tarry. And go ye straightway unto the land of my vineyard, and redeem my vineyard, for it is mine. I have bought it with money. Did you know that the United States had been purchased? At least the eastern half. Kensington Stone is that sale purchase of the land of the United States. Wouldn't know this unless you were a Knights Templar of the York Rites Masons, of which the Smiths were. Hello, anybody listening? Therefore get ye straightway unto my land, break down the walls of my enemies, throw down their tower, and scatter their watchmen. The Constitution will not be saved in Washington. And inasmuch as they gather together against you, avenge me of mine enemies, that by and by I may come with the residue of mine house and possess the land. This is the gathering, guys. That's the whole purpose for this, is to have a land of peace, a refuge. And he said unto his servant, when I will, wait a minute. 59. And the servant said unto his Lord, when shall these things be? That's what I keep asking. When? Tomorrow is the last day of the first month of the new year, which is the Exodus, in the book of Exodus, about the Exodus, for which the name Exodus is titled for the book of Exodus. And he said unto his servant, when I will, go ye straightway, and do all things whatsoever I commanded you. And after many days all things were fulfilled. It's time. It's time. So, let's get to the peace, refuge. Come on. And Zion peace. Seriously, is it in another verse? Try another approach. Sword. There we go. Yep, there it is. 68 or 60. Yeah, 68. Way too complicated computer program. You need to go beyond the verse. Oh, that's why. Yeah, it's New Jerusalem and the verse with peace and refuge. It's sword with Zion. Okay. Doing multiple birds at one time. Alright. So this is the land that the parable was talking about, that the man like Moses, the Mormon man like Moses, is to establish. And 66. In section 45, if I didn't mention it. And it shall be called the New Jerusalem, a land of peace. So already it's got peace in the name, Salem. A city of refuge, a place of safety for the saints of the Most High God. Not those who are wicked, Mormons. You can't receive the glory if you haven't earned the glory. If you're going around murdering people by not wearing a mask, by demanding that others allow you not to wear a mask, as you get coronavirus and spread it around, as you are not quarantined for contracting the virus, and then being released after you test negative 3 times. You don't qualify. If you think that the Black Lives Matter protesters are domestic terrorists, you don't qualify. If you think it's okay for the church to take your money and not take care of you, you don't qualify. Etc., 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 etc. And the glory of the Lord shall be there, the terror of the Lord shall be there, insomuch that the wicked will not come into it. You aren't going to tolerate it if you're a bad Mormon. You're not going to like it. It's going to make you uncomfortable. You're going to be upset. Why can't we take away agency? Taking away agency is the quick and easy way to solve this problem. Why can't we take away agency? Because that's the wicked thing to do. Bye. You won't tolerate it. You won't tolerate having people have agency. It will drive you crazy. It'll drive you angry. And so you're not welcome. And it shall be called Zion. And it shall come to pass among the wicked, that every man that will not take his sword against his neighbor. See, they're angry, they're violent, they're bullies. You're not going to like it there. Must needs flee unto Zion for safety. And this is the irony that the enemy has caused. The enemy embraced science to the point where they are using science to destroy us. Not just with coronavirus, but with climate change. The oil and gas companies, they knew that they were polluting the earth. They knew it was heating up the earth. That's why they did it. That's why they forced the other environmentally friendly products to be suppressed all this time. The combustion engine has been obsolete for over 100 years. And that's the whole point. They are using science against us. Even astronomy they are using against us, because they used astronomy to render the date for when they would strike. And so all these anti-maskers, even anti-vaccinators, vaxxers before that, the truth deniers, they're all denying science. They're all anti-science. And that's the other part of the ploy, is that these who embrace science, who are using science to destroy us, are also the ones misinforming and disinforming the public, getting the public to think that science is bad, and thus cause the destruction both ways. Both directly, by using science against us, and getting us to be deniers of science and thus destroy ourselves. As many as who are stupid to fall for it. And so it shall be said among the wicked, Let us not go up to battle against Zion, for the inhabitants of Zion are terrible, and wherefore we cannot stand. We can't stand them. They're so goody-goody. Goody-goody two shoes, goody-goody two shoes. Don't drink, don't smoke. What do you do? Don't drink, don't smoke. He also does strip. Adamant. And so Zion's going to be the only place unto it every nation under heaven. And it shall be the only people that shall not be at war one with another. Because the wicked can't tolerate them. They have peace, they have agency. Wicked cannot tolerate it. They have to take away agency in order to survive. They have to have survival of the fittest. They have to have might makes right. They have to have a master race. And that's the trouble with our governmental system of dichotomy. Because the GOP, for example, are racist. Well, how are they racist? They believe that the white race is the master race and are the rulers to enslave everybody else. And they don't need extra slaves, so they have no problem exterminating the surplus slave population. That's their version of racism. The Democrats, however, have a different form of racism. Their racism is a different form of segregation. It's not the mono segregation of Republicans. It's it's where you have a poly-segregationalist thinking, that you accept all the various groups and welcome new groups to form, but all must be segregated from each other in order to get along. And so you have blacks with their community, Latinos with their community, Asians with their community, Jews with their community, Islam with their community, etc., etc., etc. Notice whites are discriminated against in this, specifically white males. But they think in terms of polysegregation, allowing a number of groups, but making sure that they're all segregated from each other. This is why Democrats have been pushing the agenda on businesses to require a percentage of employees of a particular race. And it fails because the foundation for children are unequal in the first place. And that inequality needs to be fixed first before you jump into the final phase. But Democrats don't do that. And so what this is talking about for Zion is a completely different concept. It was the concept originally conceived for the United States of America. It just didn't work out that way. And as a result, America is going to be destroyed. At war. That's what segregation does. It causes war. That's what racism, sexism, bigotry of all kinds causes. Causes contention, causes war. Whereas America and this concept of Zion is to be a melting pot. Everybody lives together. Your nationalities are put in the past. See, Democrats want people to maintain their national and racial identity or sex identity, but they segregate. But this concept is so foreign to everybody's thinking. which is why the wicked can't tolerate it. The white supremacists, oh hell no, I'm not living next to them people, or those people, whatever and so they can't tolerate it. And Democrats, likewise. Oh, no, you can't have that. No, people need to maintain their identity, their segregated racial identity. No, they can't. We're all human. That is the common factor. And this is how everybody is treated equally. It is the only way that works. But nobody wants to implement it. Bill Maher talked about on his show last night about how everybody's racist. Well, it's because of the dichotomy of the two parties that forces people, brainwashes people to think in terms of racism, whether you're Democrat or Republican. And this is completely something Bill doesn't even conceive of being a likely probability, let alone possibility. This concept is completely foreign to everybody in America because the American system never happened. The American experiment never happened. And so, this is what awaits, Mormons. But I keep asking, when will it happen? Don't tell me after many days. Nonetheless, and notwithstanding, such as it is, it would be nice if he would follow the prophecies, but he's not making it easy. Well, see, when you're prepared, it gets very frustrating when you have to wait. Not knowing when your preparation will be implemented. And so, yeah, I can see in the parable how the servants would get slothful. No one dares to molest or make afraid. We're now pushing for religious freedom on top of the First Amendment to ensure that we, over others, have rights to life, liberty, and property. So, heads up. I'm really hoping it'll be before tomorrow evening to fulfill Scripture. But it's coming nonetheless. Trump's already said it's coming. But we need that Exodus moment. Because the servant, he's not going to be able to do anything if nobody's willing to follow him, is he? Nobody wants to follow somebody that they don't know. Oh, he's not Russell M. Nelson. He's not a prophet of the Lord. I don't trust him. I'd rather listen to the prophets who are purposely opening up the churches and opening up the temples and opening up their businesses and sending us back out on missions so that we can die. Which is another video I need to do about the tree of life with the iron rod. It's the tree of life. Following the prophets, the word of God, as they claim they are, is not supposed to lead to the filthy waters of death. But that's what's happening. Is the prophets of God, for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, are literally sending Mormons to their deaths as they follow them, follow their words. Oh, yeah, I need to go to church and socialize with people like fascism, a bundle of reeds tied together. need to do that video. And already you understand what it's going to be about, but my God.